Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't, I mean, we're trying to do that for the entertainment district. We're trying to get that set up. Right. So, I mean, yeah, we can get a letter. I guess, I mean, I don't know. We haven't been through that process yet, so I'm not sure, you know what I mean? Can you tell me which statute is it under?
How's the new calendar going? All the numbers looking right on it? You don't investigate them?
Well,
who?
That's my understanding.
Yeah, I think, was he driving the trailer? Yeah.
You know, you have to, part of our ordinance that we have to pass.
That was Connie.
It has that
toy giveaway.
You know, and it specifies the district, and then you have to list all the, you know, where your money
drawing,
came from, state and.
Missy.
Is that also that session?
Plunkett. She's the one that won it. Yeah, she.
Thank you.
I don't either. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't either.
Okay. I would. I mean, we can. Yeah. Alrighty. Well. Yeah. Let me look at the statute as far as what's needed.
I can bring it the next thing. I didn't bring them now.
You have that
I didn't even
information?
think about them.
Okay.
Something you have to do each year, I guess. I'll bring them next. I'll make a note to bring them next year. Next meeting. Okay, that's fine.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. Diane asked me, and I said, not my job.
Okay. But you have
Okay.
the agenda.
We have 5 minutes.
Get on the agenda. Yeah. You're gonna come up and ask for us to write the letter. Yes. But like I said, let me. Kelly has all your contact information, right?
They sent me a report on the departments today, so I made you a copy. You don't need to look at it now.
Alrighty, well, like I said, let's look at, I want to look at the statute, as far as what you're talking about. Yeah, that's fine. I do have like a 10 o'clock, I think. Other than that, I'm available. How about, right after lunch? You can come after lunch. Yeah, bring stuff with you and we'll look at it. Yeah, 1 or 1:30?
How are you?
Fine.
Hi, Abby.
Okay. No, because like I said, you wasn't on the agenda, so it's not normally something, you know. And like I said, I want to look at the statute and make sure I'm telling them correctly before to write the letter. I don't think so. I mean, but like I said, I haven't looked at everything yet, so but let me need to look at the statute that you're talking about.
I got your letter. Thank you. I passed that on to the guys too, so I appreciate it. Very nice, yeah. Well, I let them know. I gave it to them, so appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's always nice to hear what you're doing good, right? Thank you.
Hey, they got that on camera. That on camera.
Yeah, I need to get that insurance.
What's that?
I need to get it to the insurance.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I've already got it.
Thank you.
Not that. No, it's just a cold.
Well, that's what started with my wife, and then today she tested positive for flu and
Oh, really?
some kind of infection in her lungs.
I said, man, I hope I don't get that after.
No, mine's just been sinus drainage and a cold. Mostly sinus drainage.
Told us to take them all.
I've been coughing all day, so I brought a bottle of water.
About 2 years back.
What did Lane say last time? Right.
Be digging into my letter.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, do it tomorrow or sometime. The girl sent it to me today, and so I made me a copy, and I made one for you. I had to really look at it, I kind of glanced through it a little bit, and I said, okay, that's enough. I mean, it's nice that they do that and give send us one. When it said, I saw the thing on the computer, they said 58 pages, and I thought, what the hell? And it's a bunch of different reports.
Grab me one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Don't start. Yeah, it's warm.
There wasn't anything. I didn't put anything in the packet for that. We're just talking about that.
Here you are, I guess.
Never had anything. No, we had a board of works meeting.
I don't know, is JR here? I haven't seen him.
Yeah. There was.
But there's a book
Yeah,
there.
it's a picture. Yeah.
I think that's from the fire department.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
Roll call, please.
Jane Pope. Present. Aaron Cook.
Here.
Bill Bruner. Here. Mike Lawrence.
Here.
J.R. Holcraft isn't here. Leslie Votaw.
Here.
Olin Clausen, Utility Director.
Present.
Mayor Dennis Carr. And myself.
Announcements? Hearing none, minutes previous meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Committee reports. None. New business, Denise Sedler, permission to use trail for 5K walk run and waive fees for the garage for that day.
Hello, I'm Denise Sedler from the Dearborn Community Foundation, and I brought 2 members of our youth council to talk about it.
Hi, I am Ashley Sedler.
And I'm Megan Gray.
And as she said, we're from the Dearborn Community Foundation Youth Council. We are having our 3rd annual 5K walk run on Sunday, April 19th. The Youth Council has decided to split the proceeds 50-50 between the Youth Council Endowment Fund and the Lauren Hill Make a Difference Endowment Fund. We are here to ask permission to use the Lawrenceburg Trail for the parking fee and for the parking fee to be waived from the garage. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
When is it?
What's the date?
April 19th.
That date's been cleared with the clerk's office. Have you talked to them at all?
Just me.
I mean, there was nothing special going on at the event.
I don't
center,
think
you know.
so. I don't have the book with
What
me.
day of the week is that? A
It's
Saturday? or
Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
Sunday.
Okay.
Well, Sunday should.
Becky, you might want to check with the event center.
With who?
1 o'clock.
The event center. The event center,
Yeah, we
because of the
can-
garage.
Yeah.
But if it's at 1 o'clock, it probably won't interfere with anything.
Sunday.
On Sunday?
Yeah.
Board president.
I make a motion to give them permission to use the trail for the 5K walk run and waive the garage fees for that day.
Thank you. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Megan, what was your last name?
Gray.
Gray? Mm-hmm. Okay. Oops.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, you may
Yes.
want to get clarity, you're going to waive the fees for the participants and the people going to the run, correct?
Right.
And those are the ones you want to probably put in that motion in case they're still going to charge for like the
Oh, right, okay.
Can you correct that, Jackie?
Okay, it's to waive the fees for those in
Now
the
for-
run or attending the run, right?
Correct.
Okay,
What's your run called? What's the name of it?
It's just the DCF Youth Council 5K.
Dearborn County
yeah,
Foundation Youth Council.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Old business, here none.
Hi, can I ask a couple on old business? One, I want to follow up about the motorcycle track. I brought up a couple months ago. You said the LCD hadn't signed it over yet. Is
No,
that still?
they don't intend to until we work everything out, is what Mr. Butler told me.
So they'll take care of ever who's operating the track next year to work an agreement or whatever?
I didn't ask him that. I just know that there was not, they weren't going to sign any kind of, anything over to us until we get the other issues between the parties resolved. But I can follow up with him.
Okay, and then also a couple months ago, I brought up about the dog park, some of the fence posts and gates. Did anything get done with them
We
yet?
did rework the gates, swings on the gates. We probably had to put some new actual hinges and latches on it. We had 2 companies come and give us pricing on it.
All right, thanks.
Any more old business? Hearing none, review and discuss claims board approval. So moved. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All against? Motion adjourned. So moved. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Board works 5 minutes.
No, I don't know that anybody does, do they?
What?
Do they need to check with Tri-State in the garage?
Just to let him know that.
I never do, I don't know.
No, we haven't.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's,
How are you tonight?
that's probably a good idea, yeah, that it got passed.
And if they need any confirmation, they can call.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. How long I never called you.
Long 2 weeks.
I figure it's not my job.
Okay.
And it's not gonna be either.
Getting up too fast.
No. I'm a little sick and tired.
Everybody is.
So,
You sound a little hoarse.
I got a cold.
I heard everywhere I go.
I've been down for like 6 days.
I didn't get sick till about, the end of last week, or over the weekend, with a cold.
I didn't have the cold. I got the flu shot. I got some kind of virus. I sit in the pot all the time.
Oh,
and get
yeah?
sick all the time.
No, I haven't done that yet, thank you.
Long 7 days.
Well,
Yeah.
it'll follow the joints better.
Let him know.
Yeah,
I mean, I love it. It's pretty much cracking a natural
I'll talk
spot.
to you afterwards.
Here you go. But we'd definitely look at it. Yeah.
Call this board work meeting order.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Roll call, please.
Donnie Bryant,
Here.
Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Bill Bruner.
Here.
Member Mario Todd.
Here.
Mayor Dennis Carr. Assistant Police Chief Mike Lanning.
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Here.
Attorney Leslie Votaw.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
President Mayor Carr.
Here.
And myself.
Any announcements? Hearing none, approve the minutes of previous meeting.
That was a correction, Your Honor.
Yes.
In the Board of Works, page 2,
Wait a minute.
4th paragraph down.
Hang on a minute. I'm looking for, it's on page 2. Okay, go ahead.
Second sentence in, it says Mario Todd It said taking the time, right here, with this board was not appropriate. That was Mr. Kreider that said that.
Oh, okay. Sorry about
I
that.
believe going on down, it says 60 days was given. It was 2 weeks that was given.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I thought it was 60 days for substantial work. No.
No.
Okay. I'll fix them. Yep.
Need approval?
So move with corrections.
Okay.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Committee reports. Fire Department Chief John Tremaine.
I apologize, I didn't get the my material in your packets. I ran out of time on getting the ISO audit and interpretation bound, but I passed everything out. Of course, in the big binding material, that's the ISO, the interpretation. Just read that at your leisure. If you have any questions, feel free to call me anytime on that. Also, you all have the year-end report for 2014, our run totals, along with reporting that to this board and council. It's got to be reported to the township trustee also, township advisory boards. So last year, let's put it all into one. You have that information in front of you. And just for your information, I spoke on it before. There's a flyer from the Fire Instructors Conference. It's going to be held at Hollywood this year. And if you have any questions on anything, feel free to call me. I think I stuck my business card back in there. My email address is on there. So that.
Thank you. Police Department Assistant Chief.
The only thing I got, Mayor, is I'd just like to announce that since the approval of the police department being able to use the Narcan, like I spoke at our staff meeting today, the officers have been on 3 different scenes, and we've had 3 good attempts of saving lives and helping out the EMS with that. And again, I'd just like to thank you guys for approving those SOPs for us, because it seems to be helping out.
Thank you for doing it. Good job. You might put Bobby out of business.
I doubt that.
Saves money, though.
Saving money.
Thank you. EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Yeah, Mayor, I got our run totals for the month of December, and we had 142 calls. And also I have the total for 2014, and we have 1,588 calls. That was 2 calls above 2013.
Busy.
Oh, yeah. Another thing I have is, let the board know that our heart monitors came in with the 12 lead, and they are on board, but I should be getting a bill on this next week. Now, this has been approved last year. There's no line item for this, but I was going to bring it back before you guys, let you know that I was going to get with Jackie and take it out of one or the other funds, whether it's non-reverting or billing. But just,
Wherever you tell me to.
yeah. So just to bring it back to you, what you guys want to approve that tonight, to go ahead and hit, or go with past years.
It doesn't have to be approved tonight. It was already approved to do it before,
Yeah.
right?
Just that find fun and good.
You just need to bring the bill into me when you get it, Bobby.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank
Okay.
you, Bob. Carl Fryman, building.
Maybe a little update on the building across the street. Had meetings with the passing. Direction, emergency. Taken care of. Patched up. Bills have been put last month. Stay on top of that. I think it's headed in the right direction. And
Okay, new business, have none. Old business, have none. Anything on the business?
Yeah, I just have one question. I know we were supposed to get that curbside recycling trailer December 1st. I was wondering where we're at with that.
They're putting together, they're getting with the Dearborn County Waste, setting up the program. It should be in effect here for all. It's coming.
Okay.
We just got the trailer. The trailer, they ordered in July, and we just got it. I mean, it's took too long, but they're gonna do some advertisement, tell them what they can recycle, what they can't recycle, and we're probably going on radio and discuss it too. But it's, should be in service here shortly, hopefully by February.
Okay.
It'll save us a lot of money, we hope. Anything else? We can discuss claims board approval.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Got it.
Against? Motion adjourned.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Utility board, 5 minutes.
Okay. Would you pass that down to Diane? That's the Board of Works one, dear.
Because we wanted to do that all that on the Okay, and then.
Did he eat his treat?
I mean,
Mexico.
My wife's pretty good cookie maker.
I gotta ask, yeah. He probably put it in and see maybe I read it. Probably.
Right. They're all gone? Good. No problem. No problem. Love the holidays.
Not like it's a budget line.
Did you sign us?
Diane, did you pass the utility one down here?
I just took it in.
Thank you. Yeah.
Call utility board meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Jane Pope.
Present.
Aaron Cook.
Here.
Bill Bruner.
Here.
And Mike Lawrence.
Here.
J.R. Holcraft is absent. Leslie Votal, attorney.
Here.
Olin Clausen, utility director.
Present.
Mayor Carr.
Here.
And myself.
Any announcements? Hearing none, approved minutes. Yeah, I will make one announcement.
Okay.
I'm going to appoint all the members of the boards and commissions I have to further notice.
You're not going to?
I will appoint them now. Approved minutes, previous meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Who did the motion, Bill?
I did.
Aye.
Jack.
Okay, thank you.
All against?
Aye.
Do it against?
No. I was writing something down.
Okay. Committee reports.
We had a couple outages over the holiday. One of them was, and excuse me if I butcher these names, Zerbe Law Offices, and I believe that's on Center Street across from US Bank. I'm still trying to understand where all these places are. And then we had one on Church Road, had a pole that was knocked down that resulted in minimal outage. And but the crews were able to restore both of those with minimal trouble and in a timely fashion. So, and that's it for my reports.
Thank you. New business, Leslie Votal, introduce only of utility rates ordinance.
Part of you look at the amendment to ordinance title 5 to amend chapter 50, 52, and 53. That does cover your electric, water, and sewer. This is just introducing it. That's what we have to do. There is a public meeting that has to happen, which is scheduled for the 26th. I believe 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, that's correct.
At this month?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What we have to do is to, along with the notice, we have to also publish the proposed amended ordinance. And with all the reporting requirements, we weren't going to be able to do that before the next regular meeting, so that's why.
And Leslie, also, we will be mailing notices to all of our customers who are outside of the city limits, so the rural customers will receive mail notification.
Just the rural customers are gonna?
Just the rural. We're not required to do that by law, but talking about it, we felt that it was a good idea that we went that extra mile and notified these people via mail, so that if there is any issues that they'd like to bring forward in the public meeting, they have the opportunity to do so and that they're notified. Everyone else will receive notice of it through 2 listings in the paper. I think one is a county paper, runs on a Thursday. It'll be posted twice, and it'll run on a couple of occasions, as required by state statute.
I know a lot of people were upset about the fuel cost adjustment, that they never got notified. Could you do the same for the residential people?
It would be extremely cost prohibitive.
It's just folding a letter and putting it in an envelope.
I understand that. It's something we'd have to talk about and consider, but it would be a substantial increase in cost to do those things. And in the position that we're in financially, I think as long as we're doing what's required of us by state statute, notifying those individuals within city limits via public format, I personally believe that we're doing what's required of us. And as far as the tracker is concerned, that didn't require public notification. It required that we talked about it in here in our utility board meeting, and that it was voted on because that was already a standing ordinance. It didn't have to go through publication. And I will remind the board that not only was it an ordinance that we had on the books, but it's also a requirement by law and by our contract with IMPA and others that we implement those things. And I think we all understand the importance of following our ordinances.
Yeah, I want to thank you for making us aware of that. We weren't made aware of that before.
Not a problem.
The only difference on these, on the sewer charges, if you notice, there really wasn't a way to show the current charge because of it is charged differently with the new rates. But other than that, it follows what our prior, I mean, it lists the current rate and then the proposed rates. That's all I got. I did see a typo in this, so let me make sure I have it correct before we put it in the paper.
Okay.
And also, at the end, the date's 2014, so
Oh,
make sure you
yeah.
change that to 2015.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
And fix the lines on the mayor's signature. I didn't see that either, so I will.
Okay.
I got a couple comments. Correct me if I'm wrong, that we were led to believe that we didn't have to increase the water or sewage, that they were making it on their own, and they were staying in the black.
I don't have any knowledge of that sort of a statement. I can tell you that though not as bad a condition as the electric utility, neither of those utilities are operating in the black. Our expenses each month-to-month expenses exceed what the revenues are currently. And like I said,
In the red?
they're not in the red because we have reserves, but we are subsidizing those shortfalls out of the reserves that we have, which is what we did with the electrical department, which is ill-advised and is just not a good business practice. At some point, our costs started exceeding what our returns are in all of these utilities. And so, I don't even know what the number is. Maybe we could go 15 months, 17 months, a year in the water department before depleting all of those reserve funds. But at some point, somebody's going to have to raise rates. And I don't see any benefit or the rationale behind kicking that can down the road. I think if we can get ahead of it, we ought to. I think that that's the responsible thing and the appropriate thing to do. And myself as a professional, as the individual you hired, that's what my recommendation is.
I went over your sheet, and I think would have helped me more. This is very helpful. Very good job. Would show the percent increase. If you would have gave me a percent.
Okay, the rate study that was done, and I'll be happy to sit down and go over that with you again. It has all those increases listed in them. We've gone through them here in the meeting. I also prepared that pie graph that showed what each, the aggregates of our customer, who each one of those customers were, either commercial, residential, or industrial, what the percentage of our sales were to those specific aggregates. And like I said in those earlier meetings, right now, 80% of our shortfall in electric is industrial and commercial. And so out of all these reserves that we had and all of the subsidies that we've paid, 80% of all those reserves have gone to the benefit of industrial and commercial customers. Now in the water, it's not that bad. We have a more even split, third almost, between industrial, residential, and commercial. But the industrial and commercial customers are still paying upwards of 70% of all of the costs. And so again, in that subsidization situation, we are paying out of reserves. 68-70% of those reserves are going to the benefit of commercial and industrial customers, largely industrial.
I understand that. As what I'm saying, though, was the rate increase for residential, commercial, city service power, public street lighting, on and on and on, were they all increased at the same amount of percentage, or based on what the electric was being supplied to? Was it a higher percent increase?
The formulas that we use are obviously different. So with industrial, you have a demand element, then you have an energy charge element. And with the residential customer, we have it broken out into different segments, like the first 300 kilowatt hours, next 500, et cetera. So the formulas are different. So what this rate increase will do will raise that base rate of cost of power, and then we'll use the formulas, the appropriate formulas for each one of these customers to constitute the bill.
So I'm hearing you say each formula is different, so each group that was raised at a different percentage rate.
They're raised in the same percentage, so the base cost of power is equal across the board. But how we calculate the bill for a large customer is entirely different than how we calculate it for a residential customer. What we do there is we have a three-phase customer. We use a demand charge, so whatever their highest demand is over a period of time, we multiply their energy usage by that demand charge to get the bill. So we're trying to capture their highest demand on our system over that period of time. Not the lowest, not middle of the road, the highest demand. And we don't do that with residential customers. We actually charge them based on consumption.
So I'm still not hearing the answer to my question.
I guess maybe I'm not understanding the question.
Everybody wasn't upcharged the same percent across the board. It was different, or were they? If yes or no?
Yes, they are. Everybody's being charged the same increase in cost of power across the board.
Okay, that was my question. All right, thank you. And do we know what percent that was? Electric, water, and sewage?
The electric rates will increase by, with this ordinance, about 6%.
6% for electric?
Mm-hmm. And then the water and sewer, and Mel, correct me if I'm wrong, sewer is 18%, and water was, okay.
Our sewer's gonna go up 18%?
It's sewer, I think sewer is the one that goes up, and water's the least impacted.
What's water?
I believe it's around 6%.
And I can remember talking to you, and you said, you know, you would try to negotiate the possible lowest percent increase. And by doing so, have you worked on cutting the budget to bring these percentage down where we don't have to recoup?
Well, there's a couple issues going on. Obviously, there are areas that I think I can reduce our overall cost of operation. But currently, the way that we're operating, I could literally lay off all of the employees, including myself, and we still would not be breaking even. So the first thing we need to do is get our house in order, get the rates established based on that rate study that was done. It was very professionally done. It's very methodical. It takes into consideration many aspects of this business, of this community, of what our power costs are. We need to take that and implement that. And once we get up and running, we need to take a look at our rates on a more regular basis. And that, in conjunction with me working to reduce operating costs, maybe at some point down the road there will be the opportunity to lower rates. I don't know that. I mean, I've been here a couple months, and so those kinds of things, I wasn't expecting to deal with a $500,000 shortfall 2 weeks into the job. So I'm trying to work through these things.
I think you're doing a fine job.
This was news to me.
I just wanted to get it out there because, to me, I'm a straight shooter, and I want the public to know that their electric's going to go up 6%. Their sewer's going to go up 18%. Their water's going to go up 6%. And I was also told months ago, years ago, that if we got the tracker put on Acon, that it would affect residentials, people, probably like $3 per household.
How long ago were you told that?
Maybe a year. Well, I just want to finish my statement, then Mel can talk. And I'm not complaining at all, but I was told on the average it would be a $3 increase from the household. And it didn't come from Mel, it came from somebody that worked for Mel.
The problem with a lot of these things, especially with rate cases, and it's not a thing that's unique to Lawrenceburg. I've dealt with rate cases other places.
I'm talking about the tracker now.
And I'm getting to that. My point in that is, whenever you're given information, that information is only good for a time. And typically with utility rates, because there's always escalating costs in the utility world on the generation side, the longer you wait to implement those changes, the worse case, or the worse off that you are because of the change in those things. So information that you were given a year ago or 2 years ago may have been great information at that point, but you get down the road 2 years, and the difference between what that would have done for you versus now has changed considerably.
Okay, because mine went up $13.84. I'm not complaining. I just wanted to let you know and the public know what I was told. The average household would be $3.
Now, when I spoke about the rate increase, the 6%, I guess I should clarify, I'm talking about things that I think are issues that we can decide on that can be voted on. I've always interpreted the rate, the tracker, as being something that isn't really subject to debate. If you read through that language, it's a requirement by law that we implement that. And so I just don't consider that to be a debatable item. So when I talk about the increase in your monthly bill, I'm talking about the portion we have the opportunity to vote on.
Right. And
That
and
6%.
that brings me back to my next question. Even with these increases, the tracker will still be attached and we'll still see that fuel cost adjustment every month?
Yes. And so sometimes there'll be a reduction in your bill because of that, because it's based on real costs of fuel. That's an important thing to understand, is that's not just an arbitrary number. That number is based on what it actually costs to buy the coal, to buy the LP gas, to generate electricity. And when IMPA, encounters an increase in coal prices, they pass that on to, being a municipal organization, they pass that on to their partners, which is, us and 61 other people, 61 other utilities. When they get better prices on coal, that fuel adjustment price comes down. So it is directly proportionate to what fuel is costing them. And because fuel is a commodity, it's always changing. That price is always changing. They just can't pick a set number and leave it there all year because, as we've all seen with fuel goes down in price. The gas stations lower the cost of fuel. If the cost of the production of power goes down, of the coal, of the gas, then we will see a reduction in that fuel adjustment clause.
Thank you.
Okay.
Before Mel speaks, can I ask one question? In what I heard, I did hear you say, so we can tell our customer, and I think the customer wants to know, with this rate increase, you are looking into cutting costs.
Absolutely.
To be more efficient in utilities and so.
Yeah, my goal as a manager is to operate this organization as efficiently as possible. So I'm looking at every opportunity for betterment. I'm looking at ways that we can do things at a cheaper cost to the city. So basically, I'm trying to set a high standard of service at the most affordable cost that I can. And these are things that I would have liked to had well underway, but when you come into a job and 2 weeks into it, you're $570,000 in the red, your priority list changes somewhat. And so my goals changed from looking at these granular things to just trying to keep us from going under.
And you've done a good job. Thank you.
Mel?
Yeah, I just want to remind the board that the rates that are proposed is that's the same rate schedule that was in the study that was presented, I think, a year and a half ago or something like that. And to reiterate what Mr. Clausen said, if these rates are passed, you do need to look at the rates every year. Everybody's cost goes up. They might go up this much or they might go up that much, but you need to look at your utility rates every year very thoroughly and see what you need to do. And if you do that on a normal basis, rates might only go up 1% or they might stay flat. But you need to have a financial analysis every year. When the rate study was done, after you all were informed that we were going broke, it would have been good if you had passed those rates then. Maybe we wouldn't be in the red, but now we are. So we truly need to look at the rates and pass that rate increase along so that the people that founded these utility companies, the electric company was founded 114 years ago. The water company was, I think, purchased in 1936, I believe, and the sewer company was about that same time. The people that did that wanted to have the control of their rates. If you allow the utilities to go bankrupt, you will have no control of the rates. Someone else will own them, and you won't have a say, just like with your cable rates. You don't have any say in that at all. So I'd urge you to give this good consideration. It's the same proposal that was in the study. Take a hard look at it and think about what you want to do with the utility companies that these people own, and you all are the board of directors. Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment, Mel. We weren't informed.
Yes, ma'am, you
That
were.
the
You had the rate,
utility
you had the
company
rate
was
study
going
done
up.
a year and a half ago. You had the rate study done a year and a half ago. And if you remember, at the organizational meeting, I think Mr. Bruner was there, Mayor was there, you were there, Mr. Taylor was there, and at that time, Mr. Votaw. That was before you all were sworn in. I explained to you that the utility companies were going broke. We needed a rate increase. And I think I mentioned it 13 or 14 different times throughout my tenure while you all were in office.
We were led to believe, though, that we were subsidizing enough where we had no idea when he walked in the
No,
door.
Jane, you weren't. You were led to
One
believe,
that made the budget.
you were,
We didn't know we were in the red.
yes, you did. If you look at that rate study, Jane, if you look at all those numbers in that rate study that we spent 6 months putting together, here's the cost. Here's the income. The income is negative. That's even with subsidies. Now, this rate increase should get you all out of subsidies. But even with the subsidies, like I explained to you, we were going broke.
See, I didn't understand that then. I thought with the
Well,
subsidies,
no.
we were being covered.
And I want to make a comment that when we talk about subsidies, it's subsidies out of the reserves that the electric department has.
It's subsidies out of reserves. You have two people that are funded by the MDF. Well, actually, two people. You have costs that are funded out of the MDF. And the first thing I heard from this council was we need to quit subsidizing utilities. Well, if you don't have enough money to run it to begin with, when the subsidies are there, if you quit subsidizing, you sure as heck aren't going to have enough money. So I'm urging you to take a hard look at these rates and pass them on behalf of the customers and the owners.
And I will say one thing, I think it's very important, if we're going to work through these issues, that we all are, like you say, straight shooters. And in an effort for me to get an understanding of what has transpired, I had all the utility board minutes pulled from 2012 moving forward, and I found 17 times where this issue was brought up, 17 times where input was made from this utility board about those rates, about the issues that we were facing. And so from reading those and not having any history here, it is my impression that this was a well-informed board. And I think it's important that we talk about that, because I certainly don't want to have the same miscommunications moving forward. And
My question is, why didn't our subsidies carry 214 when they have every year before that? Why was there a shortfall? This year, the increase was that much?
Could I say?
When you run out of funds, when you run out of reserves, if you subsidize, like we were, $1 million a year toward the utilities out of our reserves, you eventually run out of reserves. It's just like if you're at your bank account if you aren't bringing in enough money and you're taking out of your savings account to pay your bills, eventually you run out of savings. That's what it amounts to. You can't do that for the rest of your life. You go bankrupt. And that's where we are. And that's what I tried to explain to you. Maybe I didn't do a very good job.
Well, that makes sense to me now.
Okay. But that, and along with the other subsidies that we were getting, we were still going broke. So, anyway, again, I urge you to take a hard look at those. And like I said, you all are the board of directors. These people are the owners. And you need to take a hard look at those rates. And like Mr. Clausen said, he's urging you to pass them.
And I bring up those past minutes because obviously there was a failure in communication at some point. And I just, as the new director, I want to be very careful and metacognizant of what those failures might have been, so that we don't duplicate them, so that we don't recreate them. So I'm probably explaining things to the nth degree, but I'm doing so because I want to make it abundantly clear what our position is. And you should know that if there's information that I'm privy to that I know that's appropriate for these meetings, I'm going to bring that to light. And if it hurts somebody's feelings, if it puts somebody in a bad spot, I apologize ahead of time for that, but I'm not going to withhold what I think is imperative to running the utility correctly.
Mike, you have something?
Yeah, he didn't hurt my feelings.
Okay.
But it was told, need to raise the rates. As I've said before, I know we did, but I had a problem with foolish spending. And until that got corrected, I couldn't see raising our citizens' rates. But then something you told to me when I met with you is, I thought subsidizing at least our citizens was getting something from gaming. As we're building $50+ million event centers, different things. But then I find out there's 2 industrial customers at 67% of that subsidizing was going to them.
Yeah.
That was the big thing, that if that would have been told to me a long time ago, that 2 industrial customers was getting 67% of that changes a lot of things.
Yeah,
and that's the one thing that was left out, and I'm not blaming anybody, but okay.
So there, that's a great point, because if you want to do something for the residential customers, then I would encourage you to come up with a rate structure that benefits the residential customer specifically, and you have that within your authority to do so. But as it currently stands, this 1% is received 67% of all subsidies, all revenues, all cash reserves from the electrical department.
And it's the people that doesn't need it.
That's right. So let's say that our budget shortfall is $100,000 a month, which it's more than that. It's about 120, but say 100 to make the math easy. $20,000 of that subsidization is going to the residential customers. 80,000 of it is going to your industrial commercial. Over $1 million per year. I mean, that's we're not, if we're trying to subsidize residential customers, we're not doing it correctly.
I guess we can tell them as our economic development.
I just have one last question before we move on. So what do you think the increase will be in total to the residential customer, the average residential customer, with the tracker and the rate increase?
I think, Aaron, and that's a very legitimate question, I think what you need to do, if you have specific examples that want to be brought forward, because I looked at my bill. My bill was $3 and something increase, which, I've got an apartment, it's all electric. That's not the same as what others are going to be. Some of the people in the office, I was talking with them, one lady had, she's all electric, I think she had a $7 increase. Others had more. I think, Mel, you had 12? You had $12 increase at your home? Okay, so everybody's different, but what I can tell you, if you'll bring a bill into me, a specific number, and I invite anybody that wants to do so to come and visit with me. I'll tell you exactly based
I
on
have
that number.
I have a bill right here. How hard is it to figure out? 'Cause I brought one with me. I brought mine. Mine went up $35, and that's a 10% increase
And mine
already.
went up 38. That's what
Mine went up 13, but like I said, I'm not complaining, 1334.
I'm just thinking this is too much. I mean, if this one already went up 35, and then you're talking about a rate increase as well, I mean, what's the total going to be for a month for somebody? Because I have gas and electric, so I'm talking about a $400 electric bill and a $300 gas bill, so we're talking about $700 a month.
Okay, so, but let me ask you this, what's the solution?
Huh?
What's the solution?
That's what I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
I'm presenting you with what I think is the solution to raise the rates.
That's the only solution.
So I'm asking you, what is your solution? What would be your fix for selling power for less than we're buying it? I'm presenting you with a solution. The rate increase is my solution. If you think there's something different that can correct it.
I'm asking you a question that, I mean, you can't even answer. I mean, you're presenting the rate increase, but you can't tell me what that rate increase is going to be for an average household.
It'll be a total of 19% with the fuel tracker and the rate increase. It'll be a total of 19%.
My bill will be double. I mean, it'll be about $100 then extra per month.
I don't know what your kilowatt hours were.
I got it right here. If you want me to bring it down to you.
Do you still have the rate study?
Yeah.
People down there that shows the average truck
I got mine probably double, but I mean, that's 35, and it's more than 10%.
So this is reflective of about a 12.5% increase?
Yeah.
Which would be,
around there.
so we're looking, the fuel adjustment clause that's been implemented was right at 13%. So the rate increase we're looking for is 6% on top of that.
For the water, the sewage was 18%, right?
Sewage is 18.
So it's not exactly 6, it's more than that.
No, I'm talking about the electric.
Okay. I'm talking about in general for the overall utility, it'll be more than that then.
For the overall bill, it'll go up for every one of your
So,
utilities.
I mean, I'm not worried about myself, but I'm talking about mine. If you use mine for an example, some people's bills are gonna go up $100.
But the argument that or the question I'd ask you is, what is the solution to that?
Well, one solution
The
we've
rates
offered
are-
for the past, since Mr. Davis wants to bring up the past 3 years, is even billing. But for some reason, we can't do that, but other utilities can do it, but we can't do even billing. Like my gas bill, it's $80 a month. I mean, like I use 300 something in the winter, but only $14 in the summer, so I pay $80 a month. And the next year, when you reevaluate, if I pay too much, it gets lowered. I didn't pay enough, it gets raised. That would help people out tremendously. But for some reason, Lawrenceburg utilities can't do that.
Well, again, I've been here since November 18th.
I know, but you reviewed all the minutes, obviously.
I reviewed all the minutes.
Since 2012, and that's been brought up at least close to 17 times. I would say at least 10. But that's not being addressed right now. That would be a solution to me, because that would balance everybody. People on a tight budget would know how much it's going to be.
On even billing, what would you base your base cost on?
The prior year, what they would do, they'd take the prior year and divide it by 12.
Well, what if the prior year is selling power to deficit?
I mean, you can figure in your rate adjustment if you want. I mean, the increase if
the first thing that has to happen is
they only do it in April too, so you'd have a few months to base it on too. I mean,
but my point is the information that you get out of that is only as good as the information you put in. So if your model is you're currently selling power for less than what you pay for it, even billing is not going to. You're still going to have a rate increase. You're going to have to raise the rates up to cover the costs for even billing to work.
Yeah, I understand that, because you're making up the difference for the deficit, but it would be easier on people that are on a budget, for like seniors, because they know what their bill is going to be every month. It's not going to be $379 in the winter and then $14 in the summer. It would help them budget. They get a monthly check where they pay $80, $90, whatever it is per month.
And I'm not arguing that point. I'd be happy to sit down and discuss it with you.
But I'm just saying, we keep talking about the past 3 years. You knew this, you knew that, but we've brought that up as many times as well, and that's not being even dealt with. But
no, but again, I come into the job November 18th.
Oh, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm just talking about because everybody keeps talking about since 2012, and that's been since 2012 as well. So if we're going to keep talking about blaming people and I told you this and I didn't know this for the past 3 years, well, that's another factor.
Yeah, quite frankly, I'd like to turn the page on all of that. I really and truly would. I'd like to turn the page on that. I'd like to look at the problem we're faced with right now. I'd like to find a solution to get past this issue. And I'd like the opportunity to start managing this utility how I think it needs to be managed, and not dealing with these issues, taking up all of my time. I mean, this should be something that's set, that's in place, that just works automatically by itself. And I should be able to manage the guys, I should be able to manage the equipment, I should be able to manage the time, the assets. But right now, I'm not able to do those things because I've got this looming in the distance. I would like to turn the page and get this rate increase behind us and start running this organization the best way that I can.
And I agree that you've done a great job since you've been here. I'm just, we keep talking about the past, but we've asked about that. Mike has mostly asked about it, but I'd say 10 times. So maybe maybe we can work on something like that as well.
And I'd be very willing to discuss those things.
So you're saying after we get this passed and stuff, it's something we can discuss, take a look at for the future to help?
Absolutely. I mean, anything that, I'll look at any opportunity to effect betterment within the utilities. No matter what it is. I'm completely open to discussion. I'm open to suggestions. My way is not always the best way. This is not a benevolent dictatorship. I'm here to work for the people and to do the best job for them that I can, and I've committed to do that.
I appreciate what you're doing.
Bill, you have something?
Yeah. I've been sitting here for just over 3 years now in this term, and, Mel has brought this to the attention, and I know what red means, and it means, we're not operating where we're supposed to be operating. That is a common sense thing. But the big picture is, for 3 years now, we've held off on raising rates. 4 years before that, we were on a rate increase, but all the years before that, we weren't. So, it's caught up with us. And if we want to continue to subsidize, that 18% is going to be 36%, or, it could be quadruple. So, sooner or later, we have to bite the bullet, whether we like it or not. And if it's just a matter of, when you explain this to these people, you don't say 18%. You could say 18%, but you give them the dollar amount. 18% on the dollar amount that we're paying is pretty small compared to other cities, other towns. And if you think you can find electric cheaper, go somewhere else. You may find it close, but you're going to pay for all the other subsidies, such as garbage and things like that. So they're going to get you in another place that the city's not. But again, if we continue to subsidize, which we've been told that we are subsidizing, that we're digging a hole that's bigger than we are now. I mean, it's just going to get worse and worse. It's just going to snowball. So, I applaud Mel for trying to get this done, and it's been voted down every time because of the residents. I'm a resident, but I understand that it's got to happen, and I'd rather it happen at a 6% or an 18% rather than the 36%. So just some food for thought.
It's not 6% or 8%. It's already went up. Mine went up 12%. Plus, that's not even with the rate increase.
Instead of a $35 increase in your bill, when everything's said and done, you'll have a $53.84 increase.
With the rate increase?
That's with the tracker and the rate increase. So instead of 35, you'll have an additional $18 on top of that.
What year did the rate increase?
It was the last term.
2010.
And why was not the tracker kept on? Why was the tracker taken off? I mean, I'm not asking you, I'm asking Bill, or Mel.
Welcome up.
I mean, we would be a lot better off if that had never happened. And,
I agree.
And now we're hearing from Mr. Clausen that legally we were bound to have a tracker.
Yes, you were. Yes, you are. At that point in time, the tracker was 0. Okay? And then when the tracker went up, I tried to get the previous council to reinstate that. and they didn't. And so it carried over. Now, the ordinance is in the ordinance book, and it says you shall have a tracker, okay? But, and I'm not blaming anybody for that, but you asked me why it happened, that's why it happened. The tracker was a 0.
And when you asked the previous administration, they said no, and we continued to say no too.
Yes.
But since the ordinance said shall, I mean, by rights,
Well, but if you look
it
at,
automatically went back on and not even,
it should have, Mike, and I could have forced you all to do that, but I didn't. That's, like I said, you all are the board of directors. The
but
utility.
hold on, because
utility-
I kind of feel
let me
like there's some
finish, let me
finger
finish.
pointing.
Let me finish. The utility director works for the board of directors and the customers. You all make the decisions on the money, okay? So when I asked the previous council, same situation existed. They're the board of directors, utility director works for them and the customers. If you're a utility director and you're forcing your bosses to do something, where does that put you? It puts you in retirement, doesn't it? So, that's why you don't do that. You try to explain to them, and maybe I didn't do a very good job of explaining, but it is in the ordinance, and I think you all have ordinance books, but it is there.
Not this thick.
It is that thick.
But let me ask you this. I want to ask one question. I'm
Sure,
not
go ahead.
pointing fingers.
I understand.
And I'll take blame because I sat here and I voted not to give a rate increase. And
I understand.
like this foolish spending I asked the last time, that's what I said. Is that true? It needs to go up, but I can't vote to do it until we stop the foolish spending. Show our customers, our residents.
I don't understand what the foolish spending is.
Well, to look into if there's foolish spending, is there cost cuts that can be made? We need to show our residents, hey.
Not this past.
But that's not my question.
Not this past year, but the year before, it was reported to you all that we reduced costs $120,000. Now this year, I don't know what they reduced to. I don't even know if they reduced, but the year before, they reduced by $120,000. Now this year, I'd say they reduced at least that much because there are 2 people short in the electric company.
I'll also asked
that
you
haven't
this
been
question
replaced.
before, is every week we've had meter readers that gets overtime. And I addressed that with you and you told me it would stop, and it never stopped.
Well, it did stop,
So, no,
Mike,
it didn't.
but you have to understand, they're not just meter readers, they're meter people. And sometimes they have to do their job on the weekend, like when they have I'll bring an instance up. When they have an outage at an apartment building to change out meters so that we can collect the right amount of revenue on the water usage. That had to be done on the weekend. That was at the request of the apartment manager, okay? So anyway, they are not just meter readers, they're meter people. They do read the meters, that's part of their job.
But it's every
But they
week.
they also install and repair meters. Now, every week, I don't think they have overtime every week. But if you look at the labor contract, each department has a specific job to do. And if Olin and I go out and repair a meter, when I was working there, or Olin goes out and repairs a meter, you're going to get a grievance filed, you're going to pay them anyway. So you need to look at that labor contract.
Well, since you brought that up, I mean, if you want to get down, let's talk about the ordinance. I think the ordinance, it says that this board sets pay scales and everything else for its employees. I don't think this board has any negotiation of any type
I think
over the union contract.
I don't either, but I didn't
But I'm
either.
saying that's what that ordinance book says.
Yeah, but
But my
did-
question I was going to ask earlier that I haven't got to ask yet,
Yeah.
you said the ordinance says shall.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you. Why does this board pay an attorney that has not one time told us, you know, do you realize that ordinance book says it shall? That's my question, because I've sat here for 3 years, I've not one time heard that.
I think you'll have to, I'm not an attorney, you'll have to ask the
So, I
attorney.
mean, if we want to start finger pointing,
No, I'm not finger pointing. I'm not finger pointing at all.
but I mean, I'll sit here and, I mean, I'll take the blame.
Yeah, but I was.
Like I said, the 67% was a
You
big
asked
issue to
me, you
me.
asked me why I didn't force it, and I explained that to you.
Well, why it wasn't said. I'm not saying forced by
I-
anybody, but
I think it was during that rate study. I think we emphasized that it was already in the ordinance, that the tracker was already in the ordinance.
and said that it shall.
Yeah.
Go back. Okay. Well, that's my fault again.
Well, no, I'm not pointing fingers. What I'm explaining to you all is 114 years ago, somebody founded this electric utility. And we have to make adjustments in cost on occasion, okay? Now, you all are the board of directors. You have the right to do that or not do that. And I'm just urging you to take that seriously so that we don't lose local control of our utilities. That's all I'm suggesting.
I agree with what you're saying.
Okay.
But now can I pass that question on to, because I would like to know why we wasn't told, which Mel said he didn't say it, so if that's the case, that's my fault. But why legal counsel never addressed that issue?
As far as
I
when.
mean, I feel like I need to get a full-time job of just staying on top of the ordinance books and staying on top of all this stuff because we're not getting it. So, I mean, I don't know. So I'm kind of floored to hear today, and maybe I did hear it before and I never caught it, that it's a shall and wasn't aware of it. You know, and then when I found out, like I said earlier, the 67% for two industrial customers is who was getting everything, boy, I wished I'd heard that a long time ago. But
I think when you're operating in the red, I don't think an attorney has to tell me to vote to raise rates. I think it's a given. I think it's a common sense that if you're operating in the red, you're operating, you know, it's just a common sense thing. So,
well, I mean, I agree with that kind of bill. It is common sense, but then I think common sense, I mean, if you want to look, like, everybody knew gaming revenue was going to go down, but we spend millions of dollars on something to give away. That doesn't make sense to me. So obviously, common sense, everybody sees it different.
We can beat this horse down all day long.
And that's true.
We got the papers, go over them.
We got something needs to be done.
The 26 come up, you make your choice. Okay, let's go on to old business.
I know I've got one item for old business. There was a project that began way before me. John Johnson and I think Grant, you guys had started a project with the iPads for agendas for these boards, both in utility and parks and common council. I'd like to pick that back up, and I'd like to start using those iPads to disseminate some of the information. We're always going to have the need for paper copies. That's not going to change. But it might change, you know, the amount of paper copies that we have. And I think that will be we've already bought the iPads. They already exist.
Everybody doesn't have it.
We can get you one.
I don't want one. I got mine.
Okay, well, okay, so, but we can get you the information. So there are iPads out there. So this will be a zero cost to the board. It'll be actually a direct savings because we'll start saving immediately the amount of paper that we're utilizing. So in order to do that, all of the iPads that are out, that have been issued, we'll need to bring those back in so that we can update the software on them with the mobile managing software. So any of those that are out, they'll need to be
It was started, Olin, with redevelopment.
That's right.
Yeah. And then it kind of snowballed into a few other people. So, you know, you just talk to who, I don't know, John knows who all's got them, I guess?
I have a list.
Okay.
So if we can get those in and update the software on them, some of this information will be disseminated. We can get you a link to how it's disseminated so you've got your own. But it'll be a direct savings. And I mean, this is just one example of, I'm looking at every opportunity to save. You know, a penny saved is a penny earned. I truly believe that. Everything has a cost. And I'm cognizant of those costs and trying to save where I can, so.
Save a few trees too.
I don't know, I got family that are loggers, so
So you're not gonna say anything.
I'm in a tough spot there.
Okay, any more old business?
No, that's it.
Okay. Review and discuss claims board approval.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Member Jane Pope.
Present.
Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Bill Bruner.
Here.
Member Mike Lawrence.
Here.
Member J.R. Holcraft is absent. Assistant Police Chief Mike Lanning.
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Here.
Attorney Leslie Votal.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
Mayor Carr.
Here.
And myself.
Any announcements?
There will be a closing on the event center on the 13th. There is a owner's title policy. They just actually got me an email today. With the project going over the $50 million, that did decrease the amount of that policy. The owner's title policy is $27,400. This was not something that's in your packets as far as the claims, because like I said, I just got it about 3 o'clock today. But I wanted to go ahead and get the approval from council if I could. Like I said, it is something that is required as far as our title policy, so that we're upon this transfer to actually Indiana Gaming LLC will be covered. So
When was that closing date?
the 13th, next Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
Mario, are we ready to turn that building over to them and close with them?
If there's other documents that need to go with the closings, those can be filed.
Has the
at that
punch
time.
list been completed?
No. But again, that still shouldn't impact the closing. I mean, the commitments will be made at that time.
There are some issues with the event center that I don't know whether we should go ahead and turn it over to Penn Game until these issues are dealt with.
As soon as we turn it over, they start paying taxes.
You want to get it in a tax base as quick as possible.
Get the tax base fast as we can.
And that won't affect
Now,
what
again,
still needs
and
to be done?
Les can probably address it better than I can. If there's anything pending out there, that can be addressed at the closing in a way.
You mean as far as any kind of, everything, from my understanding is that everything has been commenced. There's not anything new that we'll have to procure, correct?
Correct.
Right. So, if that cart didn't come in or whatever it is, we've ordered it, correct? Right. So that's my understanding. And as long as all of those obligations have already been taken on, and but there's not going to be anything hanging out there that we have to go and procure buy. And if there is,
Well, I think Jane's referring to like warranty type issues and/or
right.
Punch list.
That's all normal stuff, right?
Right.
That's
But what I'm saying is that everything as a city, that we would have had to do through either our bid process or whatever, that's all been taken care of.
All the
and so-
commitments that were contracted.
Yes.
okay.
But I guess I do need the okay for, I guess, Jackie to go ahead and pay for that owner's title policy.
When I get a bill.
Okay. We'll get it over to you.
Gonna get approval for it, though?
Yes, from the board.
Okay, need a motion to approve, pay that bill.
Make a motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I just need that date one more time, Leslie.
It's next Tuesday, the 13th at 1 p.m.
Okay, approved minutes previous meeting.
So move.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Committee reports, streets, alleys, and curbs, Aaron Cook.
No report, Mayor.
Finance, Joe Holcraft, he's not here. Fire Department, Bill Brenner.
No report.
Police Department,
No further report, Mayor.
Fire Chief.
Just, everybody's got a copy of the ISO interpretation, the yearly run schedule, or incident, number of incidents we've had, and then the flyer on the training that's coming up at the end of the month.
EMS Director, Bob Mills.
Council has the copy of the run totals in front of us. That's all I have.
Building Department, Cole Fryman. Okay. On the new business, that's the right-of-way easement for event center.
This was given to us by Dearborn Title. It was in your packets. It has to do with the overhang, and Exhibit A was not attached to what I got, but from what I understand, it's the overhang onto our sidewalk, correct? We have to give them an easement, basically infringe on that right of way. So that's what this is.
What about number
Even with
two?
it being in the air? I mean, that's,
Yeah, there's air rights.
Just like an awning.
I was trying to figure it out. I was like, wow.
That's
what does this need to be?
the landscaping and traffic control. They're maintain certain concrete barriers for traffic control and landscaping over parts of Walnut and High Street. Can you give us an example what that is?
It's the landscaping, putting back the sidewalk.
Okay.
The title company was concerned about it.
Because it says concrete barriers for traffic control too.
Curbing. For the, like the backside, we have curbing coming around for the island way.
Yeah.
For the direction, for the porta cashiers. Yeah.
My only question is it won't affect the road going to the top of the levee.
No.
It'll still be public use.
Correct. Basically, if you would go and look up the overhangs on the event center, look straight up where you're standing at, she's getting permissions to have that over top that area. Those island areas that you see, that you drive around, the traffic control, that fringes both the right-of-way, city right-of-way, and the event center property boundaries kind of cross over. She's asking for that also.
But we'll still have access to the top of the levee.
Correct.
Need a motion approved.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Have it.
Thank you.
Okay, old business, Mike Clark, Royal Sanitary easement.
Thank you, Your Honor. Couple meetings back, I think, before the city of from Lawrenceburg without. I asked to hold up on that until I received exact location. In your package, you've got the written legal descriptions for the easements. Put together a drawing to show the area. There are no issues or adverse effects at the location that we're looking at. In fact, they worked around areas of concern. So I have no problem with where their easements are showing right now. I guess it's up to this board to decide if you want to grant it. This is just for your information, so you've got a better understanding.
Is there going to be any removal of any large trees in this easement? Put that in? No, none at all?
Doesn't affect the bike trail anywhere now?
This has nothing to do with the bike trail. I don't think they've got that exact location.
way it's
figure it
staked
out.
off now, we're outside of the trail itself, or I should say off the pavement section. But that's not to say it's gonna stay there.
Because that was the last thing I'd heard, but
That's what you have to be in front of widows and I can't answer that. I just know around the boat landing area, this is a concrete road. So, part of the property is owned by the city. Same document will have to go in front of the development commission.
I don't think, I talked to Roar Mayor, I don't think he's gonna touch the bike path unless he keep from it. I told him I don't disturb anything, I want to keep from it.
Can I make one comment? Some of the other roles that I've participated in other places, I was on a National Trails Committee. It's called Adventure Gallant Beyond, but we created trails that received national recognition through the Department of Interior. And one thing that we looked for opportunities to do, like with utility easements, pipelines, things like this, is we tried to create trails, hiking, biking, walking trails on top of these utility easements. Because number one, it gives you a way to get in to service those utilities if in fact something occurs. You have an easement to get in and out. And it also doubles up the usage of that corridor. Places like Park City, Utah, do this almost exclusively. Any place that they have underground pipeline, they go ahead and incorporate a hiking, biking, walking trail on top of that corridor. Just a suggestion, maybe we could look at some value engineering or some ways to maybe include some of those things in this type of an easement. Kill two birds with one stone.
And we have, part of this is going alongside the existing trail. I think that sounds like a great idea on city and property. Big portion of this though is on the private land.
I see. Okay.
Won't work in this situation though.
But for new expansion or new utility, it'd be a great idea.
Yeah, it would be.
Something we should definitely look at.
So Mike, you're comfortable with it then?
Yeah, and like I said, I asked you guys to hold up until we receive this information. Now that I've got it, they did do everything that we asked them to do location-wise around the boat.
So there's no names or anything, but I'm understanding it's gonna come from Aurora and go through the cornfields? Is that what you're saying? Private land? Or can you explain where, does this green right here start in Aurora?
No.
Is that Lawrenceburg there?
Yeah,
So we're down here at Aurora?
That's gonna head north to there. That's leaving the bike trail.
That's still in Lawrenceburg right there.
It's following the bike trail from Aurora until just south from what you see. And it's gonna leave the bike trail, head north to where we pick it up on either redevelopment or city property. That's the green line. And I only looked at what was on our property because that was the only easement information I received because we couldn't get it.
Thank you.
So what Mr. Stratman is asking, and what he brought, and this is the email that I brought to you to begin with, and then that's what prompted the map. The appraisals for the easements for the city portion was $3,745, and they were asking if we would grant them that without compensation, helping us stay within their budget on the project, so. Guess we just need to, if you want payment for it, then say so.
3,000 what?
$745. The one to redevelopment, the one for redevelopment was $1,975.
It's part of that grant you give them a while back. I mean, they're pretty close on their budgets.
So,
So you have a little help.
so you're saying to stay within budget, they need us to compensate them back this money?
Just keep them pretty much.
Basically, they just not requiring payment for it. They
Oh,
would
not
have to pay-
requiring payment.
That's correct.
Okay, so we wouldn't actually be giving them anything
We'd be giving them the easement without compensation.
without cost.
They'd be paying us back the money we gave them. Right? In a sense.
True.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. This will go to 911 Dearborn County.
This is the 911 interlocals that were presented to you, I believe, at the second, well, it was not the first meeting. We didn't have the quorum, but then it was brought back. Second meeting in December. So, let me find my copies.
You want mine?
I got them.
Okay.
I think. There they are. At some point, you guys, the last conversations that you guys had was whether or not this, the $60,000 that they're asking for dispatch. I mean, is that something that you want to look into? Or, I mean, I don't know.
I'd like to sit down as a collective group and, in a session where we can go through this, and see exactly where this is coming from. I know I mentioned at the last meeting that, they're wanting to charge us $60,000 a year for dispatch, but throughout the years, they failed to mention the millions of dollars that the city's given them for equipment for dispatch. So at this time, I feel, and this is my personal opinion, that this needs to be looked into a little bit more and explored a little bit more before we decide to go pay $60,000 a year. I mean, I think there's other options out there to be looked at.
How's the EMS fire thing?
I sat on the board at 911, and this was brought up right before I went on the board. And then all of a sudden it disappeared. And then it come back up. What it was a blow up. And I think if you remember, Mary, you know when that happened.
Yeah.
The director put these charges out, and when he wasn't supposed to. If I remember correctly, I think the director sat down with the administrator and they come up with the rate charges. And I think it's fair to say, they brought this back up, that I think before you did anything, you would have to be sure there was a commitment from the Dearborn County Sheriff's Department. And I think Michael agreed, that's probably a fair statement to say, of what they're going to pay for the they have more calls than anybody. So, and even though 911 is basically housed and owned by the county, they're two different departments.
It's what? I'm sorry?
They're two different departments, dispatch and sheriff's. So I think we need to look at that, and I think that would be a fair statement to say, what's the sheriff's department today?
I know that they included in there $45,000 for Aurora, but that's the only one I can remember.
That was when, a year ago, Aurora disbanded their clerks and stuff, and the monthly savings, that $45,000 was savings that they put back towards the dispatch center. And I also need to clarify too that it's not the concept of when 911 come into play. It's just like anything else. Is sometime in the ballgame you got to pay your own way, and with the introduction of cell phones, because there used to be if you've got a phone at your home, there's a 911 charge on there. Well, everybody's getting away from your home phone, well, the revenue's going down to them. I mean, it's all just coming around where everybody's got to pay something to get in, but I think it's a fair statement what the sheriff's, what is the sheriff's gonna
Bobby, what do you think, Bob?
I agree with Mike. I mean, to me, as daughter, the city of Lawrenceburg gave them start off, and they turn around and ask for $60,000.
How long ago were you talking?
Huh?
How long ago did we give the equipment to them?
do? It was, what, 2000?
2000.
Whenever the new 800 megahertz.
Yeah,
This one went 800 megahertz, yeah.
So it's been 14.
We bought everybody in the county radios.
Well, that
Consoles.
new consoles over there, all
We spent a
the,
lot of, yes, we did.
The little groups paid for
What-
their
what-
own.
what-
went into the
We
the new.
subsidized all that.
If I'm
Yeah,
not
well, we did,
mistaken,
that's true,
didn't-
but they paid.
Did the city of Lawrenceburg
They're
give
working
them
on
money
those.
to relocate for the second time also? And they relocated, what, twice or three times? Look at the thousand, or I'm not saying that, we're probably talking a couple $100,000 just to relocate they've wasted.
I know your guys' channel works pretty good, the utility channel of the city, you can't never call and get them.
So how much would it cost for us to do this in-house? I mean, because obviously that's the only other alternative. We
Yeah, I
can't
mean,
go without
that's-
911 services.
That's a, I mean,
24-hour dispatchers.
You're looking at 8,000 calls a year between the three of us and 24/7. I mean, no, you're not gonna get it for 60,000.
You're talking
You're not
millions.
even gonna get the equipment for 60,000.
You gotta have a secure building, put it in, everything else. Very secure building.
One dispatcher would cost you $60,000 a year.
We have,
Wages.
we have a dispatcher,
Huh?
we have 3 of our clerks. One of them's a retired police officer, and one of them's an actual dispatcher that worked for the county for many years.
And you're still gonna need probably 5 more on top of them 3.
They work 24/7 now. Well,
That's what I'm saying. You're still gonna need more than
yeah,
4 or 5 people.
you got weekends and holidays in there that
Yeah.
you have to consider, but, I mean, there again, that would take a look at schedule changes, you know, maybe you go to a 12-hour shift, maybe you go to a 10-hour shift, I don't know. But then, you know, there again, you're looking at equipment cost, you're looking at, your NCIC and IDAX training for the dispatchers, you're looking at them, you know, there's different training aspects that Bill would probably have to go to catch up on, and the other 2 would have to go become certified in. And something to look into, don't get me wrong. I'd rather look into that than pay $60,000 a year without, you know, with all the money that we've already given them. I mean, that's just my opinion, but.
The way I understand it, your intent was to talk with them and try to get that 60,000 brought down.
I'm sorry?
I understood you to say that you were going to talk to them and try to get that $60,000 down or negotiate that or.
Go before the 911 board, I believe, wouldn't it, Johnny, to be able to,
I think that would have to go through
Well,
county council?
we
have to-
just do policies.
So, I mean, it
Why don't
would
we do
be-
this? Why don't we put you 3 on a committee, look into this, bring it back to the board, the findings.
You can do that.
3 can work on it.
I mean, because basically it's just you're gonna have to look at, do you just, from what I understand, because I want to be able to tell the county attorney, you just want to make sure the $60,000 is what we should be paying because of the amount of calls we have, or because we've given them all, you know,
I'd say a little bit of both. You know, like Johnny said, I think a fair question is too, is what's the county paying? Their calls probably double ours, in a year, and what portion of that are they paying? If they're charging us 60, what's the county paying? You know, I mean, I think that's a fair question to ask.
3 on the board, find out they find it. Report back to us. Table that for right now. Make a motion table, take it back.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
County Animal Control ordinance.
Again, this was put, The interlocal that's in your packet
That's
has to
yours.
do with,
Get yours.
the cities, towns of Dillsborough, Morris Hill, St. Leon, and West Heron, and the cities of Aurora and Lawrenceburg. My question to you all is whether you want to, I mean, this may be something you want to look at further too, but there is an opt-out provision, that we can't opt out of this, animal control ordinance. They've already passed the ordinance, we're already under the ordinance as a entity within Dearborn County. So the only avenue, to not be under that ordinance is to opt out. I don't see any benefit in doing that because, I guess some people have different opinions of what they do, but the animal control, I mean, I definitely think that they do work in Lawrenceburg, so.
But are there any conflicting sections in their animal ordinance compared to ours?
No, even with the new, if you remember when Mr. Taylor was here, I believe, in 2012, there was the whole vicious dog thing, and they've also comported with the law on that particular issue. That was the only thing that I really looked at as far as, to see whether or not that was taken out as far as the pit bull thing. But no, as far as I can see, there's not really much difference. But if you, I don't know. I mean, what I can do is I did give you the ordinance. Yeah, that's the interlocal. Yeah, the ordinance was given to all you. I just, like I said, I don't know that there's anything in here that is going to conflict with ours.
And Carl reviewed the ordinance too, and are you satisfied with?
There was only one section I was looking for. I believe. Passing the ordinance where holding him. Got on it, but I just they work with. That's the part that I'm.
Well, I read through here, and most of these ordinances are not enforced by the county. I mean, it's on record, but they're not enforced.
The good thing about it is, I mean, if you was to get in trouble, they would probably go.
I mean, how many dogs in town do you see wearing dog tags?
Some of them I was supposed to find out.
Most of them don't wear collars.
I myself don't have a problem with passing the
Interlocal.
ordinance.
We wouldn't have to do anything to our ordinance. Basically, if there was anything that was found to be different or contradicted, we could just pass a small ordinance that says any contradiction, the county ordinance would override that, Anything that's in conflict with it.
Am I looking at the right thing? This is the county one, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really, our ordinance is always going to be stricter one since we passed it. Ours is what there's, as long as we keep a fairly good relationship, it will help. I mean, holes and different, more stringent ours.
We suggest, Leslie.
I don't have a problem with going ahead and having you guys sign the interlocal.
Did you give us an interlocal copy?
Yes, that's what's in your packets now. And I don't know, I
got an interlocal for 911, and I got an ordinance for the dogs, the animals.
The interlocal was with the ordinance in my packet. Or maybe it was
It might be attached.
Maybe it was in,
Actually, it was. you had to
another
bring it.
packet.
You had to bring it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I did good, Bill.
You did.
I brought
Did have a
it.
sheet in here to say to bring another packet.
Yeah.
Do you want to look at it a minute? It's just
Well,
2
I
pages.
did bring the county animal control ordinance, but I didn't bring any interlocal agreement.
It's in your old pack. Last pack.
They should have been paper clipped together, Jane, because mine were when I found, when I pulled them out today.
We've tabled it 2 or 3 times.
What we'll do?
I'm good with it.
For a motion? Dan, you good with it?
Huh?
You good with it?
I'm okay with it.
Okay, I entertain a motion.
Entertain a motion to approve the interlocal.
Second.
All in favor? All against? Ayes have it.
Is that the ordinance or the interlocal?
Interlocal.
Okay, no problem.
If you want, there's a provision for everyone to sign.
Leslie County tax appeal.
That can be tabled, Your Honor. I just ask for a motion to table that, please.
A motion to table that?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Against? Special events parking.
This was brought to our December 4th or December 5th meeting, I believe. And I do see Mr. Feldhelst here from Tri-State. What he gave us that day was a proposal for surface parking, the surface parking at the corners of Short and High Streets across from the parking garage. I guess he just noticed basically, I think when we had the events down there, people were parking for free in those lots and not.
Thank you.
And then basically those had to be filled up first before people had to go into the garage and pay to park. Obviously that's not very good, doesn't make a whole lot of business sense. So I brought it back to you to see whether or not, you would like to do, we could do, there's lots of options. Mr. Fieldhouse, do you want to comment?
We brought this up because the first couple of events that you had, like you touched base on, the first 80, 90 spaces in those parking lots were filling up with no charge. No one's manning those parking lots. It's just a free-for-all. So once those spots would fill up, then people would start coming into the garage. So we just threw this out there just as an example or a proposal. If you guys were interested, we could charge for those parking spaces, $1 per car, $2 per car. It's just, it makes no sense to have 2 open parking lots. People are not paying, and these people are not local residents. These are people coming from Ohio and Kentucky that are used to paying, that are not going to have a problem paying. No one's balked at the charge since we raised it to $2. And I still think $2 is.
There may be at times, they may park a truck down there if they have a big entertainment. They may bring in 2 tractor trailers, they may have to have a spot to park.
That's fine. You would have total control over this. This is just an idea we brought to your attention because we sit there at the events and we watch these lots fill up, and there's nothing we can do about it. And then once they fill up, they start using the parking garage.
Make it garage more profitable. I wouldn't have no problem, but that's the board decision.
So, I mean, we could do something like the boxes you have,
Yes,
like an honor system.
that's an honor box that we use. You could use those during the day as well, but at nighttime during the special events, we would charge. We could put someone there, or they could pay the box.
Okay.
I just gave you different scenarios on how to.
How much are those? I mean, how much would that cost?
I actually have 2 boxes from an older lot that we have that I would give to the city because we don't use them. I talked to one of our employees. What we could do is we could paint them. They just need a little love. The only cost would be to install them into the concrete, and hopefully, if we give you the boxes, we'll turn them right over to you.
Mario?
Sir?
Place those boxes if you give them to us.
There's 102 spaces.
We can place, we were just bringing up the other property, the south parking lot. We've got some easement issues with that one, with that other old Jose property, I'll call it. So you may want to hold off, or you put that box on that particular lot. But the one to the north, yeah, we can place those.
This would more or less be like kind of like a deterrent to try to get people to park into the parking garage. Another problem that we foresaw over New Year's Eve, and I brought this up in the last meeting, is a lot of people are parking up Walnut Street. And a lot of the local businesses are getting upset about that. There's nothing really we can do, but I spent New Year's Eve down here and I watched that myself, where people show up at 8 o'clock and they were not leaving until 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning.
I've got a question for you. When you were here last time, did you report that some of the businesses were charging people to park in front of their storefront?
There was a business a couple blocks up, I think it was an insurance company, that was charging $5 to park. And the directions at the event center, I think, needs to be changed, because they have you coming down Walnut Street, going past them. So if you're from Ohio or Kentucky and you've never been here before going to a concert, the first thing you see is parking $5. People, that's cheap. So they park there, and then when they get down to the event center, they see that parking's $2, and then they see free parking meters.
The thing
So
is,
it's-
was they charging to park on private property or on public property?
Was it, what lot was that?
That's the
that we
question.
talked
That's
to you
what I was
about?
wanting to get to. I think they're
This lot over here?
2
No,
blocks
it's
up,
wall.
I think it was like a auto parts
Oh.
store or something like that at one time.
A1 you're talking about?
So they was charging to park on private
That's
property?
On private property.
Yeah, it's their lot.
Yeah.
But we went up and talked to them, and they said, hey, I own this. And it's just, before the people can get to the event center, they're getting hit with the $5 before they get to the event center where they could pay $2 to park in the garage.
You need to put a sign up on that corner, say $1 parking down.
Well, we did. For the next event, we had signs lined all the way up Walnut Street. But the problem that we first saw on New Year's Eve is people were parking on the street. And, you know, like I said, they were getting there at 7 o'clock. They weren't leaving till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning.
I don't see how you're gonna fix that.
Yeah,
Well-
by putting, by charging for the parking lot, that's gonna push more people on Walnut Street for free then.
And we thought that, you know, when we put this together, we didn't know also that the event center was getting the free spaces that they were getting. And that's a whole another topic that, you know, I tried to bring up at the last meeting. You know, if you could stop that before this deal is done with the event center, they do not need 180 parking spaces for free in that parking garage.
But
I don't believe it
you would
says
break, you'd break a contract at that point.
But people, when they come out, they almost laugh that, you're kidding me, it's free?
I don't know that it's free. I think it's.
Nothing in there says it's free.
No, it says we just.
Well, they have to validate their ticket. If they get their ticket validated, it's free.
See, they-
It's a ticket validation system.
I think you can still charge them.
Oh, trust me.
You have to have 180.
If you don't have your ticket validated, we charge people, and even the people that we are charging, when we charge them $2, they're floored.
The validation that Hollywood would be,
Paying you.
Yeah.
Well,
it's just that
The contract doesn't say that. It
Well, it
says
doesn't say-
they get 180 parking spots.
Right.
It doesn't say free,
It
though.
just says they're made available.
But it doesn't say they gotta pay.
Well, again, that would be negotiated out. That wouldn't be a breach. But I mean, there's 180 spaces in there that are quote
Reserved.
unquote reserved.
What we do at other locations, just like for the Westin Hotel downtown in Cincinnati, for every validation that we have at the end of the month, we bill the Westin for all those tickets that are validated. And I think that if we can get that into place would be,
Okay.
Aren't you doing the valet for the event center?
for the event center as well.
So you have a relationship with him at this point, correct?
Yes, with the Hollywood. But this deal was done without my knowledge. I had no idea that you were given.
But unless
Or the
they
ci-
agree to it, I don't see how you can even go back and try to do
Well,
it, unless they just agree to it.
like you said, it doesn't say free. I don't know how it's worded. I didn't
It's
know this
reserved.
until the day after I presented this to council. I found out that they got 180 free spaces and I about fell over.
Well, I mean, to me, the way I read it, before I would vote to say yes, charge people, I wouldn't put the citizens' money at risk to go to court against it, I can tell you that.
No.
Those spaces ain't stopping you.
I've instructed all of our employees to, if you do not have a ticket stamped, they pay. They're paying. And people want to pay more. $2, to charge somebody $2, the common answer is, that's it? $2? They're paying $200 a night for the hotel, to stay in the hotel. I mean, I think, I heard the cheeseburger over there is like $18 or $16. All we want is $2 for
You need
parking.
to stop rumors like that, you know.
Well, how much is it?
But the parking lot.
It's not $18.
It's 16.
There's one that's 16. 'cause I seen
Someone
the
came
menu.
down and, someone came down and complained that it was a very expensive cheeseburger.
All right, let's get back to the first one.
Like I said, we presented this to you.
Let's go back to the lots.
We presented this to you just to give you approval if you want to do it or if you don't want to do it. We're losing out on 100 cars a night because those lots are sitting empty and they're not manned. And we have to sit and wait for those lots to fill up before people come to the garage.
So
And
we would
like you
have-
said,
We would have to amend our ordinance in order to do that. That's the reason I brought it back to you all, not the Board of Works. So if you want me to do that, I will, and bring it back to you.
And I
Has
think
to be an option in
Mario,
case we develop it.
Aren't those?
yeah,
Mario brought up a very good point about that property that's owned by, what's his name?
And I think redevelopment may have titleship to those properties.
Redevelopment.
I believe so.
But when they give
How
that
much
property
does
to them,
Jose
though,
own into that lot?
20-some foot. I don't know about own. I think it's an
I
easement.
don't know if that's,
easement.
yeah,
It's a
you gotta
easement.
look into that.
Yeah.
It's a
Because that
easement.
was intention, the guy had it before.
That was part of when redevelopment agreed, it's all part of it.
That's still, I mean, is it in the deed like that?
Yep.
So you're saying that the redevelopment is who I need to bring this to?
I believe it is redevelopment.
Get there, or just have them transfer it to the city and then we can do the ordinance on
That
it?
would be totally up to.
Okay.
Now, if that comes back from redevelopment to the city, say, to charge, now who gets that money for charging?
that goes to the city.
So that's gonna help
That's gonna-
decrease the cost the city for tri-state parking.
Absolutely. We're trying to make the city as much money as we can, but
Double check on
when it's given away, we're handcuffed. I'm
Well, I
trying to
mean, if it-
generate more money.
I mean, I think
That's
when
the
they have
title
an
of
event,
development.
I mean, I don't have a problem with $5 parking.
Well, they
you know,
voted on
so-
that the last time, so every concert, every special event, we're gonna charge $5. And people are not gonna say a word about it, because I went ahead and did it for the REO Speedwagon concert. I took it upon myself to charge $5, and we generated almost $900 that day for one concert. So when I brought it to the board, they agreed to make it $5 for special events. But it's $2 now instead of $1 across the board.
So when they had that concert, you took it on yourself to raise it to $5?
Well, it was at 3, the valet was at 3. So we decided to charge 5 just to see what repercussions were, because we couldn't do anything until it came to the board, and not one person complained. They couldn't believe how cheap it was to pay $5.
Leslie, did he have the right to do that without permission?
As far as that was before we passed it with the Board of Works, is that right?
Please?
And was that before we passed it with the
That's when
board?
I called to the office and they said, go ahead, but it needs to go forward to do it again, you have to vote on it. And you guys voted on it, and it's $5
For special events.
for special events. That's concerts, whatever big events they have at the event center. And it's $2
Mario, you got
instead of
something?
$1.
I think Grant may have some information on those properties.
Who?
Yeah, they're redevelopment properties.
They are definitely redeveloped. Okay.
See, these parking lots, it's not like you're giving me the parking lots. All we're gonna do is we're gonna charge for those days. And if you tell me, you have a fair or a chili cook-off there, we won't use them that day. Or we can cover the boxes up. It's just for special events, it's foolish to sit there and watch all those spots.
I agree with you 100%.
And it's not gonna affect the citizens of Lawrenceburg, because these are people coming from Ohio and Kentucky that are parking in.
They're glad to pay $5, they pay 20 up there. Well, you know, you got parking lots up there.
Well, yeah, trust me, $5 is cheap.
I'll get on it and get redevelopment approval next week and get a transfer to the city. That way we can then amend the ordinance. In the meantime, we'll
Check that
also look on the
easement language also.
Jose.
Can we get a motion, go ahead and do it, pertaining to that?
Well, redevelopment's gotta pass it first, right, to get it to us. So-
Is it possible to look into the contract and see if we can bill the event center for all the validated tickets instead of,
Yes.
it's only $2. I mean, you can actually, if you want to propose it to the event center, and what they do at the Westin Hotel downtown is they just tack it onto their hotel bill. So whatever that would be, you would have a $2 parking surcharge on your bill, which is very simple, and then we bill them at the end of the month.
I guarantee the West is paying more than $2.
It's $24 a night.
That really, that's not bad, a place like that.
Can do that. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll work on it. Okay, any comments from the audience?
My name's Tom Schneider, and I live in Lawrenceburg. I would like to comment and find out some information on a loan committee meeting that was held in December of this year. That I tried to get a tape of that meeting, and I found that there is no tape of the meeting. And so some of the information I got out of the article that was in the newspaper, and some from a person who was here at the meeting. But why did it take a year to calculate what people owed, people who received a loan from the city? Why did it take a year to calculate and find out what these people owed and what they didn't owe? In particular, an individual who owes over $3 million for apartments that were built on the other side of Walmart. Now, over 2 years, he didn't pay anything, paid no payments at all for over 2 years. I just fail to understand if someone has if the bank down here had that loan, he would not get away with 2 years. If you assume that there are 50 apartments and he's getting $500 a month, these are low numbers, that's $25,000 a month income that someone got that money, and the city did not get the money.
I don't think he owns those anymore. I think the bank's got those.
Well, again,
I don't think the loan is for the apartment.
That was a tax credit deal, I believe. I remember.
but someone's in those apartments. If you drive up there, there's cars and everything, so they're rented and they're Section 8. Okay, so if you live in Section 8 housing, the federal government makes a payment to who? Does it make it to the property owner? Or the bank, or whoever's got it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it goes into the pot, basically.
But the bottom line here is there's over $11 million of loans that the city loaned. Some of them are current, some of them are not current, some of them have been paid. Okay, that's $11 million that is out here somewhere. And then all you guys are arguing about, well, we're not getting it from the casino. Why can't you get the money from the people that not you, because all this occurred at another, and my point is not to point the finger at anyone. But all I'm saying is this needs to be straightened up, and it needs to, if you need to get an attorney to protect your interest, you did protect your interest because you paid the taxes. Okay, you're protecting your interest from that perspective. But still, that's $11 million plus that's out there. And all these people were supposed to, the agreement said that all of them were supposed to go to the bank and get their own financing after a period of time. So what department, where did the money go? when people make the payments, where does the money go? It doesn't show it in the budget as income.
Jackie, that goes all back into the accounts for the private entity and the public entity loans, correct?
What? I'm sorry.
The monies.
They go back into whatever fund it came out of, yeah. Whether it be Riverboat or municipal development. When they make payments, that's where the payments go.
Right, but does anyone on council, do they see this? Now there's a loan committee. So that means that people on the loan committee are responsible for that money. And the people pay that money. So do you get a report every month that says these people paid, these people did not pay?
Jackie told us that it goes back into the revolving loan fund account, not back into MDF or Riverboat.
It really doesn't make any difference. That's an accounting thing, but I'm saying.
They're brought up to date about every 2 or 3 months on where they're at.
Yeah, but you're the loan committee, and you're the people who have to take action.
Monthly.
You're the people who have to take action against.
Get that report that you're asking every month, no.
Now, one of the things that you did say is, we were able to reestablish the loan committee with an ordinance finally, at the end of 13. We then turned everything over to MBAL. They were able to go through everything, give us good numbers so that we could say, hey, this is what you owe by June of 14, okay? So, and then after that, our first meeting, I believe, might have been the very first week in August. And since then, we have, I think there might have been 1 month where we didn't meet, but we have met, and we are trying.
I'm not saying you're not trying. And I understand the mechanism that you had to go through to get control. But.
And I just sent letters out last week to 5 different banking institutions. Got a call back from one of them today. And, so we're trying to enlist their help to help administer the loans from here on out. I don't think it's, I may be speaking out of turn, but I don't think it's the revolving loan committee's intention to do further loans. We didn't reestablish it so we could loan more money.
No, I know you didn't.
Reestablish it just
all I'm saying is, this is the size of the problem, okay? When every meeting that there's discussions about this budget and that budget and whether the money's available, all I'm saying is there's $11 million right there.
Would you reiterate why it's so important for the loan committee to have their own attorney?
Well, it's just my feeling, all right? And do not take this personally. But your firm, and you as the city attorney, you devise the loan agreements. Okay? If there's a problem in the.
We didn't. No, we didn't. I'm sorry. I have to stop you there. It was Mr. Steidel that did most of the loan agreements.
Okay. So then I take back what I said. So this goes back, and you're attempting to straighten out problems that you didn't create, that you're stuck with now.
We took steps last meeting to do that. The city makes bad bankers. We need to get out of the banking business, let the banks do it.
So the city loaned millions and millions and millions of dollars on contracts that an attorney didn't even prepare.
Correct. That was basically.
Mr. Steidel didn't create all those contracts.
I can tell you that our office didn't.
You did not create one of those loan contracts.
We are taking steps.
Your office didn't create none of them?
No.
It may be different, but if I was a business and someone owed me $3.5 million and was getting income for over 2 years to the tune of X dollars a month, I'd go bananas. And this gentleman not coming up, not showing, needing extra time, the city is a public entity, and everything that the city does is in front of everyone. Okay? So he doesn't have the right, in my view, to say, well, I got this contract, but I can't. He owes the money, and he needs to step forward, and otherwise you need to take action. Because it's your money that in your budget, but it's everyone's money. So I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know.
Thanks, Tom. Anybody else?
Just one thing. The Hosea property is not the Hosea property, it was my property. I purchased it for two reasons, a lot of reasons, but I like the deeded property that was next to it, and it is 20 feet, and it's actually deeded to that property. There are restrictions on it as to what can be done. I talked to Mike about a few of those, but you can't build on it, but you can use it as an access to the western part of the building, which was the attractive part if you went in there. Well, I've recently sold it to a guy by the name of Rob Schilling out of Cincinnati. I'll give you his information, so if you want to contact him. Before I sold it to him, I told him I was going to sell it in the next year or so, and I sold it to him for what I paid for it, okay? And I told him that the city owned this property, and it was deeded to us, but the deed has the restrictions that I talked about. They're lengthy, but you can do some things with it. But you guys technically don't have that right now. That's attached, the deed is actually attached to that property. But I told him that before I sell the property, if the city ever came to me, because I knew that the city had some plans to develop those two parking lots that are across the street from each other, that if they came to me, I was going to actually trade off something or give them to the city. Because if I didn't do the building, I didn't need them. And if the city needed them, I'd rather have so I said, if you don't buy the property, if you come back later, and if the city approaches me, they will not be attached to the property. I'm going to give them back to the city. Well, he came back pretty quickly, and he wanted them. He wanted the property. So I told him, I said, be prepared for the city to do the same thing to you, to come back if they develop that property. I know that parking is not development, but it's pertinent with this discussion. So I think he's approachable. I don't know where his head is with this, but I'll get you the information.
So Rob, when he purchased the building, the deed to the partial parking lot?
Well, it came with it, Jane. I mean, when I
attached together?
Well, I didn't separate it. I mean, there was no reason for me to do that. And I didn't approach you guys, but, conversely, Hosea said nobody approached him to get it back either. So it didn't seem that there was any urgency there. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what he told me in Kentucky when I purchased it. But that's the story as far as who controls it now. It's Rob Schilling.
So have you closed on that deal yet?
I did indeed, yeah. And we took the firehouse now, and our energy's going to be in there, so, yeah.
Great. If you could give me that information, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll get it to you.
Anybody else wants to talk? No more?
Did you say you were? Oh, I thought you were.
No, sorry, no.
No more?
Yeah, I'll speak.
Yeah.
My name's John Schmar. I'm wanting to talk about property across the street. 233 Walnut is my aunt and uncle's, and they have nothing to do with this. This is all me, my sister. I filed the complaint on the building, and Bill and Pat aren't here, but last month Bill gave his presentation, and I thought that this month we should say something, but I'm a little, I don't really understand why this building has got to this condition without somebody doing something. I don't think I should have to do this. I think the city of Lawrenceburg should have took action quite a while ago. I grew up next to that building. The house across the street's been in my family since 1912, and I think it's a fire hazard. My uncle was born in that house. He still lives in that house with my aunt, and I would just like to see the city do a little more to take care of this problem. I've watched that building go from an okay building to the condition it is today. When I was a kid, I seen rats running around. And today, there's still probably rats running around. Now, Bill's put the Band-Aids on it, and thanks to Carl, I appreciate that. That's my sister and brother-in-law. They cut the grass back there, and we have to pick this stuff up every week. I've gotten flat tires back there, and I think that what Bill Crowder's doing is better than nothing. But I think something needs to be decided on that building. Either he fix it right or it comes down.
I think Carl's on that right now.
Yep.
Carl,
I've
invited him to come over to the office tomorrow or whatever. And, since the city paid for the report that we got on the building, so I wanted to read that all parties involved realize that I'm not going to venture away from this report. Or it'll go before the board after a safe building.
I told Carl, any building like that in town, go after it. I mean, it's.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I can't imagine a building that size look that bad in this town.
Been like it for 30 years.
I know it has. I know. I grew up next to that building.
I didn't realize it was gone.
Yeah.
Didn't Popcorn own the Liberty at one time?
No.
No, never
No,
did?
just 233. My grandpa bought that in 1912.
The one next to the Liberty? Who owned the Liberty?
It was a stable, I'm thinking. I think it was built in 1893.
It was a theater.
Huh?
It was a theater.
Yeah, it's a theater. It was.
German beer hall one time.
But originally it was a stable?
I may not be right, but I think that's what I
always thought that was Schmar's.
Well, Schmar's is right across. 233. 227 is the Liberty.
His grandfather one had the popcorn machine back years ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. That's the building we went in and bought popcorn and then went down to Walnut.
Yes. But I just wish that, and I appreciate what's being done. That's better than nothing. I mean, but I think something needs to be done to fix the building, right? Either fix the building or it should come down.
Carl's on that right now.
I appreciate that.
You can stop in and see Carl and tell you what's going on.
Will.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Okay, review, discuss claims, board approval.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Dan, I'm gonna invite them down for that redevelopment, so make sure that if you got questions or somebody in particular, let me know. Thank you.
Will you get it on the agenda then?
What? Oh. I consider
I don't know, I didn't recognize it.